Broughton Sanctuary in Yorkshire has been home to the Tempest family for over 900 years. Roger Tempest and his partner Paris Ackrell are guiding this stunning estate into the future with innovative and inspirational vision.
We've gone to the outer nature and completely changed that from industrial farming to nature-friendly farming. And completely changed that, and that's very exciting to see the changes. And I know we're both very aware of it.
I can't wait and to see that, because of course we're doing the same thing at Mapperton, and it's always fun and interesting and enlightening to come and visit other estates that are doing something similar, and to sort of, in one sense, share ideas, but also to look beyond and be like, look at it working. It's really working. So I can't wait to get out on the estate with you and look at that.
Yeah.
But then let's touch a little bit about the two of you. Then you've done even more. I mean, you're just constantly transforming the estate here.
Yeah.
And it's now not just nature restoration outside. The two of you have something, are doing something that of course I love, which is well-being.
We want to be this sort of island of refuge where people can come to discover themselves really, and discover, our interconnectedness with nature, and to find solutions to the problems that we're facing individually and collectively. So that's really what we're about, a place for people to go on these journeys of discovery.
It's incredible. And you host huge retreats here.
We'll get 50 people, sometimes up to 100 people staying all over. We have 20 retreat houses too. And they're just staying here. And the facilities are quite exciting, which you'll see.
Which I'm going to see. I can't wait.
Yeah, you'll see those.
When I married into the British Aristocracy, it was the start of a wonderfully exciting journey. But for an American girl from a small town outside Chicago, that was also a little daunting.
I live with my husband Luke, the Earl of Sandwich, and our family at Mapperton House in Dorset.
Living in a place like this is a joy, but also a challenge. And every day we're aware that we're preserving a very special part of Britain's heritage. Mapperton has opened up an extraordinary new world for me, and I can't wait to share it with you all.
So if you love castles and manors and stately homes as much as I do, please join this American Countess as I journey into the British countryside in search of some of Britain's finest historic houses. The Broughton Sanctuary Estate, on the edge of the Yorkshire Dales, spans some 3,000 acres, with 1/3 forming a nature recovery program where nature is being given every opportunity to thrive. Paris and I joined Kelly Hollick, nature recovery lead at Broughton, to see how the landscape is changing and reviving. Well, lovely day. And which is fantastic. It's always nice. Look at that, we have the sunshine. So I can see here, there's a lot of tree planting that you've done, that you're doing right now. Is that right?
Yeah. So we've done 4 years. We've kind of started our nature recovery journey 4 years ago. And our first kind of phase has been on the trees.
Okay.
And so we've done 4 years of planting. So we planted 330,000 sort of native trees and shrubs across
You've done 330,000 planting.
We've done 4 years of tree planting, so we kind of started the journey 4 years ago, didn't we, sort of 2021. And our first phase was concentrating on getting trees back into the landscape.
Okay.
So we only had 5% tree cover on the estate.
And a lot of that was like the non-native plantations.
Yep.
So we only had like a few sort of ash, which we've got problems with
Yep.
as well,
Yep.
and sycamore and hawthorn, and there was very little of it. And we've also got this compacted soil and tight grass from all of the kind of tens of decades of sheep farming that we've had. So yeah, we kind of kick-started it with getting trees back into the landscape. So we planted 330,000 trees.
Yeah, in order to create an impact, we needed to like physically plant the trees because the soil was so compacted.
And that's from all the sheep, the grazing of the sheep for over decades after decades, is that right?
Yeah, just like, just compacts the soil basically, all of the,
Tiny
So
hoops,
then
tiny
planting the
hoops.
trees, then all of a sudden, because then the roots will go out and sort of, in one sense, move the soil around. Am I saying that correctly? And it rather than the sheep compacting it, it's starting to break it up.
Yeah, it's basically helping also. So you can see like this grass, we've got lots of different grasses and wildflowers coming through now.
Yeah.
And it's becoming a lot more kind of dense and rich. So all of the roots are helping to kind of slow the flow of water runoff into the local streams and things.
Yep.
So we're helping with flood management in
Yep.
the local area as well.
Wow. Fantastic. And 330,000 trees.
Yeah, over 330,000 hectares actually, interestingly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's 18 different species of native
Yeah.
broadleaf trees.
Wow.
Yeah, and so with the planting, sort of the design of it, we have tried to mimic sort of natural zonation. So
Okay.
we've got these different canopy heights. So we've got areas of high forest where we've planted like oak and lime, alder and
Right.
aspen. We've got big open glades within the woodlands, and then these kind of high forest areas feather down to these medium-sized trees, and then on the outside it's kind of scattered shrub around. We've also planted a lot of wood pasture.
Yeah.
So these are these like clumps of plants which kind of mimics how trees would naturally grow. So there's kind of key like tree species surrounded by these thorny shrubs
Yes.
with this big open land which allows for a bit more sort of that kind of shifting cycle.
Yes.
So yeah, there's kind of lots of it was sort of like a lot of design thought went into the actual planting of it. Yeah.
It's more of a managed rewilding,
Yes.
basically, but trying to mimic natural processes as much as possible. And like Kelly said, we've tried different kind of things in different areas as well. So we do have some areas of land that we've just left and we're just leaving and we're just seeing what's happening there.
Yeah,
also.
what happens, what nature can, and we know that nature can recover anyway, but it's seeing, and sometimes I guess, you do have to, in one sense, manage the nature recovery itself because of the damage that had been done prior to that, and to really give it a kickstart.
Exactly, it's like a helping hand to help it get there quicker.
Yeah. My husband always calls it, when we look out beyond and I can see, you've got the sheep there, but I can see a real difference. And he always calls it the green desert. But you can see a shift from where the sheep are and that green desert, and then what you've done on this.
No, it's really nice because we are at that phase
Yeah.
where you can look out of the landscape and you can actually identify our land from all of the different colours. So this, England's green and pleasant lands, actually England should be a mix of like different colours.
Yes.
And yeah, you can kind of see the roughage and the different textures and colours, and that kind of, you can kind of differentiate where our land is.
Yeah. It's more beautiful to look out.
Oh, absolutely. And
to see
teeming
this.
with wildlife.
Yeah.
We went through walking through those sheep fields where, let's be honest, the grass is this long, there's no life, there's 2 species of grass and some sheep. You walk through these long grasslands now and they are literally teeming with insects, aren't they? There's like crawling at your feet, buzzing at your head. That brought in the small mammals, so there's voles running as you walk in. That's brought in the bird of prey. So we did have barn owl, buzzard, kestrel, but we've just got an influx of them now. We had, how many eggs was it we had this year? 41.
Yeah, and we've had an osprey on the land, we've had a stork on the land, and we had someone recently who was he does quite a lot of nature photography on the land, and he saw 10 barn owls in like one
hunting in one field,
one field, and at like 5 a.m. in the morning or something like that. It was
and
10 together.
the speed at which it returned. So when we first started, I was a little bit we'll get the trees in like 20-30 years. Will we see some biodiversity? But actually, that first year and just letting the grasses grow. It happened within sort of 6 to 9 months. This sort of like build it and they will come.
Yeah, it's so true. It's amazing just to see, again, what you've done here, but also you did mention you've got the voles coming back, and we know that the biodiversity from these lovely long grasses and birds of prey coming back. But have you put any animals on, sort of on the estate that help with that whole nature recovery and rewilding?
Yeah, so we're now into what we are calling the phase of the beasts, which is an exciting phase to be in. So our first, as Paris was saying, the first 4 years we're really kind of kick-starting that degraded landscape. So, getting trees back in and kind of creating a foundation. Time is of the essence. So for us it was, yes, it will naturally regenerate, but that could be centuries. So the trees have gone in, we've done 4 years of that. We're now introducing animals into the landscape. So we've got Iron Age pigs. Fantastic. Which we can go and see. So they're kind of mimicking what the wild boar would have done. They're also helping break up that compaction and expose that bare soil. So we've got them, and we've got some cattle that have just arrived on no fence collars. And they're again kind of, so with the animals for us, it's about having different species that all eat differently, graze, browse, rootle, scuff things up, rub on things, and that mix kind of collectively, they're helping to kind of create that diversity. And so it's exciting just bringing them in and already seeing that difference that they're making. It's, and you're not in control of it as well, which is lovely. Release them and see what happens.
Exactly. It's so fun to see, because we've got Tamworth pigs, but I love watching them rootle.
Yeah.
They go so far in. You don't realize it. All of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, they are. Yeah.
I think what's super cool about them, I was reading actually that, they're ploughing. It's like nature's plough, but the way that they do it, they're not destroying any of the mycorrhizal network.
Right.
So they're kind of doing that, whereas if you're ploughing with machinery, you're going too far in and it's destroying all of that. So what they're doing is kind of just the perfect balance of leaving what's needed and breaking up the compaction, which isn't. So it's just like, it's just harmony, isn't it?
They're clever. They're clever, and that's what they're meant to do. Not a big machine. I'm not, that is what those pigs. They're clever. They know what they're doing. Should we go see them?
Let's see them.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's go.
Look at.
Yeah.
This one.
Come on.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, the other two. So the other two take a lot longer to come up.
That's
They've been
here,
here for sort of 2 to 3 months. Yeah, and you can already. I mean, these are the little beds that they've made.
Okay.
I know. So when we first got them, when I was watching them, they were kind of going off, pulling up these big tufts of grass, and like walking on. And I thought, what are they doing? So I followed them down, and they were basically making themselves each a little cozy bed. And so they've got 3 here, and they've got 4 different locations that they've chosen to sleep in. So if you go in, there's like 4 different areas where they've made these little beds, and depending, I guess, on the weather, and it's like where they go. So
and this was just under the tree here, so they've got some shelter maybe?
Yeah, this was the first one that they made here. You can kind of see it, and they're kind of getting in it.
So how many pigs? How many Iron Age pigs?
So we've got three Iron Age pigs, and they're in this area purely because we were mentioning before, we left some areas for natural regeneration, and so one area was our only arable field, so it wasn't compacted and it had bare soil, and that's doing amazing. We've got like 8 different species coming up. It's like really beautiful. But the 2 other areas we left were kind of the fields that we've been walking through, so very compacted, tight grass. We weren't seeing anything, kind of like 3 years in, there's nothing coming up. And so we put the pigs initially like confined to kind of 40 acres in this regen field to help them assist that natural regen. So already they're kind of using those powerful snouts, rootling, exposing that bare soil, breaking up their compaction. So they're kind of here while they do a job, but then eventually they will extensively roam around basically, and they'll kind of be mixed in with the native cattle that we've got. And, but they're just kind of, we're just...
No, I think we did that a little bit at first, and then we've had ours for 2 years, but they've now made... I mean, it's quite funny because you'll see like the White Park cattle and the pigs together. This is great. And then the ponies in the background. It's really lovely.
Oh, no,
they just all sort of... I don't even know if they know any of them are there. Do you know, they take no notice of each other. They just happen to be in
They go about their business.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I mean, that's what's been really nice about watching these, is that they're like really busy. They've always got a job on. They're like, they'll just run past you. It's like, what are they doing? They've got this mission, and they're constantly like,
So he seems quite sort of calm and content.
Yeah,
possibly.
yeah. No, they really are. It's just at the moment. So eventually they won't be fed. They'll be out just foraging.
Yeah.
But this one, when she arrived, she just had piglets, and so she was really skinny. And she was bold with these, you know, I mean, they're great mothers. They basically completely deprive themselves. Yeah. And so we wanted to, Ben, who we got them off, was like, look, you're going to have to feed her up, get her condition on and just observe. So we've been feeding and we're just weaning them off food now.
Right, okay.
But yeah, so, they are a little bit here expecting something. But
do you want to give her a little bit of a brush?
Yeah, I'm going to give her a bit of a brush.
Just be careful of her snout.
Yeah.
She's a little bit, she's wanting some feed.
Some feed. Here we go. Hello. I'm just going to give you a bit of a scratch. Come on. There we go. Is that nice?
Yeah.
Oh.
There.
The other two haven't even bothered to come, have they? They must be quite happy.
Oh, yeah. Nice scratch.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, my goodness. This is brilliant. Good scratch. I don't have food, but I've got a nice broom here. Oh, so nice.
Yeah.
So they don't they don't sort of stay together during the day. They're sort of
They will have been together.
Okay.
Yeah, they will have been together, and I think the other two have just thought, oh, I'm just going to stay where I am. I think they'll literally just.
She doesn't have food.
I think they are.
Do you want to try calling them once more?
Yeah. Come on, pig. Come on, pig, 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 pig. Where's your sisters? Go get your sisters. Go on. I mean, we can have a walk down and look at the grassland. You can see some of the work, and they might be over there.
I love the wild landscapes of the Yorkshire Dales. The big.
Yeah.
Because this is really the gateway to the Yorkshire Dales,
Exactly.
isn't it?
We're looking out onto the Yorkshire Dales National Park.
I mean, it's just stunning.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely stunning.
And actually, one thing we did is we removed all of our fencing. So you kind of not seeing the difference, but we had all of these square fields.
Right.
You know, and you removed all of that, and already it's just got this feeling of like openness.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of the telephone masts underground as well. Roger's, like, that's been one of his big things is just getting rid of all of that. So we're really returning back to the wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just wide open
preserving the
spaces.
landscape.
And it just aesthetically makes a huge difference on a feeling.
It does.
You know, like you're not confined in this system.
No, exactly. And you can just breathe better and you feel better, you feel lighter,
Yeah,
and it's just, you're not looking at sort of a pylon.
Yeah. No, it made a big difference. But I just wanted to show you the leaky dams, which we've got here. So, you know, as we were saying, as Paris was talking about, a lot of the project being in the Aire Valley catchment area, we were looking at natural flood management.
Yes.
So the trees was a big contributor to that. But we also put a lot of leaky dams in the watercourses.
Okay.
So because we don't have beavers in the landscape yet.
Right.
Yet.
You're coming onto
They're
that, I can tell.
Yeah, the beavers are next of the beasts to arrive, and we don't have the trees in the landscape. We've not got them limbs falling into the water. So yeah, we anything kind of falling off, we're shoving in to the waters and just helping that to slow the flow.
To slow the flow.
Until the beavers
Until
arrive.
the
We're being the
beavers
beaver.
Right.
Until the beavers come and do a way better job.
Fantastic. So you're getting a pair.
Yeah. So we'll get a pair.
And you've got your enclosure now, because obviously, we have to have these enclosures to begin with.
Yeah.
And then,
hopefully
everybody will get their head around this, that actually beavers are good. We don't need these enclosures.
Yeah.
But how big is your enclosure then?
So we haven't built the enclosure yet. We're just on with the licensing. But the area they're going in is like 10 acres.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. And so the fencing contractors are booked for the enclosure. And
amazing.
Yeah, so
it's amazing. I mean, our beavers that we have, it's incredible to go into their enclosure and to see the work that they do in like one night.
Oh, really?
You go back and you go in the next morning and you just think, oh my gosh, look at what they've built, or look at what they've sort of gnawed away at. It's
amazing.
It's outstanding. It's so much fun
we're
to see.
super excited about seeing that.
Yeah, and then of course all the the wetlands in particular that they've helped with us within the enclosure, but the biodiversity that that has brought back is astounding. I mean, just
Beautiful.
even seeing like so many dragonflies
Yeah.
all around when we go into their enclosure. It's incredible.
Yeah. No, nice. Well, you're exciting
no,
me even
it's
more.
so
about
exciting.
It.
It's so exciting.
And we have a specific wetland area that we're going to be restoring as well, down by the River Aire, right?
Yeah, you can just sort of see it. It's just in the valley bottom there.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got the River Aire was straightened for the railway line.
Right.
And so you can see where the old oxbow is, and it is actually functioning as a floodplain, but it's draining really quickly, so
Okay.
it's not wet for long enough really.
I
And so
see.
one thing that we're wanting to do is re-establish that, make it create kind of scrapes and pools and over deepen them so it's staying wetter for longer. But this area is also where our farming for wildlife is. So we were talking about how we've got these two sort of models that intertwine.
Yeah.
We've got rewilding, which our aim is nature restoration, and we've got our farming for wildlife, where our aim is food production. But obviously, the biodiversity is a byproduct of farming,
Yes.
and meat is and food production is a byproduct of the rewilding. So it's just kind of a different focus.
Yes.
So our cattle on the farming side, they're in these our hay meadows and our kind of wetland area. So they're kind of helping make muddy pools in the wetland.
Great.
They're kind of helping that sort of diversity of structure for breeding waders birds. So we've got curlew and lapwing here, but no chicks surviving because of farming practices and crows perching on walls and predating the eggs. So we're kind of getting the cattle in, farming, making it's food, meat production, but through having them there, they're kind of
They're doing
having
a job.
they're doing a job.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, because quite a lot of people, hear about rewilding and they think, especially within the farming community, there's a worry about food production. But, firstly, we waste so much of our food, which is an issue which really needs to be looked at. And secondly, a lot of our rewilding land or managed rewilding nature recovery that we've been doing has been on our sort of worst quality soils. And then the regenerative farming and food production can go hand in hand with those it's nature-friendly farming with the models that help to support biodiversity and support nature.
Yeah.
And with, why also there will be food production naturally is because there aren't natural predators.
Yes.
So we have to keep the numbers down. And, especially right now with all the trees that we've been planting, we've had a lot of deer coming, and then, we have to cull some of the deer. And it's amazing meat, no hormones, no chemicals, really wild, natural, very good for you.
Yes, absolutely. And the meat will be sold here as well and locally.
And a lot for our local community, and then people who are coming here with our hospitality and the transformational retreats that we're doing, they'll all be able to eat the food off the land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And that reminds me, I want to hear all about wild well-being and what you are doing here. I mean, it's just right up my street.
Yeah.
And you guys are so inspirational.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to hear about that.
Yeah, because we've got this rewilding of the land, and what kind of is unique to Broughton is the rewilding of the spirit.
Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, I can't wait to dive into that. This has been, honestly, this has been heavenly. Not just because the weather has
it's been good.
has cooperated, but it's just also fantastic just to be with the both of you and really hear your insights and your knowledge and your passion. It's coming from both of you. What you're doing here at Broughton Estates.
We love it.
It's incredible.
We do love it.
Yeah, I can tell. It definitely comes across. So really, it's brilliant.
Hello, dear viewers. Are you passionate about history and stately homes as much as I am? Then sign up for the American Countess newsletter. Here you'll get exclusive insider stories from my latest visits to castles, manors, and stately homes, and stay updated on all the exciting projects at Mapperton. You'll also get access to all of my blogs, like the recent Legendary Balls of British High Society. So don't miss out, subscribe today, and join our wonderful community of heritage enthusiasts. From rewilding and nurturing the land to nourishing the human spirit, Broughton Sanctuary is striving to help rebalance our experiences and connections to the earth.
So this is Avalon.
The smell. I wish it could go through the screen right now, but I already feel relaxed, and I've stepped 3 paces in.
Yeah.
But this is what you've created here on the estate.
Yeah, so this is our state-of-the-art wellbeing centre, and kind of the philosophy of Avalon has become really the beating heart of everything that we do. So, you know, wherever people are staying or whatever they're doing, quite often people walk in here, whether it's for a yoga class or, you know, doing one of our deep transformational retreats.
Right.
Yeah.
And the building is beautiful. It's very sympathetic to the environment here, and that was obviously done on purpose.
Yeah.
How long did it take from sort of start of concept to sort of complete? We've cut the red ribbon, I should say, and we've opened.
It was a few years, 2 or 3 years, I think. But it was a natural kind of organic evolution of how it actually came about. But yeah, it was really important for Roger, especially to really make it sympathetic with the hall. You know, the hall being this beautiful and historic architecture, to have something that matched that in the quality. And you know, the modern buildings do actually work very well alongside that, as long as it's, you know, feeding in well with the rest of the landscape.
Yes.
And we've incorporated a lot of biophilic principles within here, so you're kind of feeling nature from the inside. You know, big glass cantilevered, you know, looking out into nature. Glass fronted, and a lot of kind of elemental earthy colors and textures and shapes, from, you know, ripples to waves and local stone, and just bringing nature inside as much as possible.
Yeah, and having a safe space.
Yeah. Well, nature has a calming effect on the mind compared to like man-made shapes. So say if you're in a city or a town, looking at all of those kind of very angular buildings, it actually isn't as soothing for us as, you know, when we're seeing things that are curved and natural, and, you know, that Fibonacci, which you'll see on some of the doors. Those shapes that we've incorporated.
So you really thought of everything here, because a lot of times you'll go to, you know, a well-being center and it is very geometrical, and there hasn't been, I mean, it might smell nice, but it's purpose built.
Yeah.
This is built with a purpose.
Exactly.
And that's what's extraordinary. I can already see that, the ripple in the stone here and up above here, you've got that moving around, and, you know, and then obviously you can see, it's like I can just basically grab a branch there and bring it in.
Yeah, it was all very intentional, you know, from the initial stages, the architectural meetings, to the building itself, and to the interior design, all kind of woven together.
Oh, great. Well, I cannot wait to explore this.
Yeah, let's go and have a look.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm already in love. I want to jump in, but I won't. Or I wouldn't jump in, I would gently step in. Tell me a little bit about what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, so this is the pool suite. And we have the lowest chemical commercial pool that you can have, so it's really gentle on the body. Dolphins can actually survive in this pool. It's called a clear pool, and it's clean using UV and a few chemicals, but very low.
Right.
We've used all local materials, so Yorkshire sandstone. And you can see there's ripples, this kind of undulating effect on the floor, and the ripples on the ceiling. And they're kind of representative of the effect that we can have on our communities around us. And, you know, from this little drop in the ocean to this kind of spreading effect that we can have. And that's all down, you know, pointing towards the inner transformational work that we do.
The work that we do, and rippling it out so it can touch other people's lives
and the
in a positive way.
Exactly, the choices that we make every day and the impact that we can have.
I love this design because everything around here is it's meaningful from within. So you're not just walking into what I was saying earlier, just sort of a purpose-built block. There's elements around it. Let me ask about I assume that it has some meaning. I have a feeling.
Absolutely. So this is Source, and it's actually our logo, and it's it's this holonic source of light and source of life. And I guess there's lots of different words that you could use for it, whether it's consciousness, God, the source really, the divine. And in life we have all of these different philosophies and different religions all pointing towards the same thing. So there's many different paths up the mountain, but essentially it's that essence, that oneness, that universal nature that they're all pointing towards. So,
and that can bring us all together.
Exactly.
Rather than separate.
So at Avalon, we're a non-dogmatic space. So we've always really aimed for that purity. So people from different backgrounds and faiths can come here and feel at home. So we're not pushing any particular philosophy onto anyone, but hopefully it's sort of a house where everyone feels welcome.
I actually, and I'm not just saying this, I actually really feel like the energy in here, and I look out there, and that woman, I mean, I want to be her. I want,
you are her.
Yeah, I'm just, that is extraordinary, that sculpture.
We call her Madonna.
Madonna.
But she's just very Mother Earthly figure.
Oh my gosh, it gives me chills.
Yeah, bringing nature's principles inside, whether it's through, the big glass-fronted spaces, through the colors, textures and shapes. That's essentially, we want to give people that feeling of being in nature, even though they're indoors.
Yeah.
And so in the sauna and the steam room, there are these, curved, very organic shapes, which is quite unique actually.
Yes.
The sauna, I think, was the second one made like that in the world. It just has this very calming, serene effect.
Outstanding. I mean, I'm definitely coming back, Paris, and I won't be coming back filming. I'm going to come back and just immerse myself
just melt
here at Avalon. Oh,
you're
all right.
so welcome. Anytime.
There's so much more to see, isn't there?
Yes. So this is the nest.
Yeah, this is
You want to practice yoga up here?
Yeah, I'm like, when can I come back and bring my yoga mat? This is astonishing, and you really feel your, nature is right there, and that you can then do your meditation or your yoga or.
We've had all sorts of workshops up here. Yeah.
So this is really. Avalon, this was this big vision that you and Roger had, but it's much more than just some type of well-being center, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, we were talking, when we first got together, we were both very much on a journey of self-discovery and, talking a lot about what was happening in the world and what was breaking down and what is breaking through, and both of us kind of have this yearning to want to share some of the experiences and essentially the healing and freedom that we've got to experience from the journey that we've been on, and we want to share that with the world. We're not missionaries or anything and pushing any particular agenda onto anyone, but really there's so much potential that we have as human beings, and we've really lost our way. I think we can all agree that we're facing so many problems, and we've so many wrong turns, and it's like, what are we doing? Like always busy on our phones, disconnected from nature. We've lost that sort of beingness and connection to our essence. We've lost spaces to come together in ritual, to release trauma, to release emotion, to come together and celebrate. We've lost connection with the earth and where things are coming from, and that gratitude and the ability to really just rest back into our beingness.
Yes.
And so this is a space for all kinds of discoveries. Gosh. And we've had so many different thought leaders and thinkers from all walks of life, from all over the world, really.
Yeah, you have. And that's what makes this place so different. I mean, I felt it when I walked into the door, and I'm a yogi myself, and well-being has been very much a part of my life, and also helped me, I think, come back to my authentic self, peel back the layers, and rediscover kind of who I am, but also connect with other human beings who also might be going through something similar, so that you don't feel alone. And that's also really important. And this is what you've created here by having these retreats, these workshops. Like-minded people or people who are struggling or going through something can come together and not just work alone, but work with others and work with a professional.
Exactly. So beautifully put.
Yeah. Okay, so I can come back, yeah?
Any day.
Ooh, I can't wait. Paris, unbelievable. I'm coming back.
Good.
With a renewed sense of calm, I returned to the hall where I met up with Roger to explore a very special and peaceful place.
Okay, can I just start off by saying what I find so wonderful, interesting, and unique, and odd at the same time, are chapels inside these historic houses. So tell me a little bit about the history here. I mean, and this is stunning, by the way.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very peaceful in here, and it's still really well used. There's still services, everything. But the old chapel is probably in the centre of the house because we're Henry VIII and all that business.
Right.
Being Catholic, we had to hide. So we've got, priest holes.
Do you have priest holes?
Yeah. And so, and then this was when you're allowed to be a bit more formal. Right. I mean, it's quite hidden in the house from the outside.
Yes.
But when you come in, it's pretty,
right.
It's pretty out there, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. And the color scheme is fantastic. And so when were the interiors?
This interior is quite late. They remodeled it in the 1890s.
Yeah, I was about to say it's about Victorian.
Yeah, it's quite Victorian.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful, Mum worked for all her life with Mother Teresa and organisations. So she was very, she was coming every day. She loved it,
I think I saw a photo of your mother and Mother Teresa in the library.
Yes, you would have done. Yeah. And but this chapel's really special. There's we've had quite a few little miracles in here, and one of them is something I witnessed personally. That we had two guests here. There was one was actually from Norway and Presbyterian or something. I don't know which one it was, and George and Sarah, who was Greek Orthodox. And anyway, they came in. They were staying. They're friends of mine. And they came in, and she was like 44, and he's 55, just to give you an idea. And came in, and I thought, and I gave someone the reading to read.
Yes.
And so I gave it to him to read, and he stood up there, and they'd been trying to have a baby for 20, 30 years or whatever, never happened. And she, sort of 44, yeah. Anyway, and he read the reading. It says, and she was called Sarah, and it says, and unto you, Sarah, who was barren, shall have a baby. And 9 months later, she had a baby.
No.
Yeah, and that's my godson.
No.
He's 21 now.
That's what an extraordinary story.
Yeah, true.
Did you know that the reading you were giving him had that?
No idea. No idea.
You just said, here's your
but
reading.
Lovely, and there've been a few other things, and it's just lovely that.
That is
But
lovely.
it's very well, it's quite well used here. It's a small, you might get 15 to 30 on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But it's the parish church too, but it's like odd being.
Yeah.
But it's lovely. Everybody comes when we have retreats. People come and sit in here, and sometimes a few readings. But it's a beautiful little jewel, really.
It really is, and it's so special. And you can, again, like what I felt all around the estate already, is just this incredible energy. There is just energy on this estate. What you in Paris have done, and again, the energy comes from ancestors as well. And but here,
Older generations.
Yeah, all the generations.
It's beautiful.
How wonderful.
So there we go.
The interiors at Broughton are stunning.
It's really about ancestors in this room. We got, this is my grandmother, my grandfather.
Right, she's a beauty.
Yeah, she was a beauty, yeah.
Wow.
They were friends.
Look at her, the way she's holding her string of pearls.
Yeah.
I mean,
Valerie, I knew her.
Did you?
Yeah, she died in the 1980s, but she had, everybody had quite a lot of initials. So she was Valerie Arthur Tempest, so it was VAT. So her bags, you know, the leather bags and things, it had VAT on them, VAT, so like a VAT office. My father's initials were HRT. My brother's initial, he's Piers Martin Tempest.
Okay.
PMT. It goes on and on.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay, and so you remember her, you've got fond memories of her. And
yeah.
her.
I never met my grandfather, but he was a brigadier general, First World War, Boer War, everything. And he died at the age of 74, so I never met him.
So you know, but he's the one who built the dollhouse.
Yes.
Is that right?
His recovery program was after he was ill.
Because he was shot. Is that?
He was shrapnel and mustard gas.
Wow.
But my father was shot in the head. Yeah.
Okay, your father.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
but
yeah.
his recovery was building that absolutely exquisite dollhouse.
Yep.
But you do remember her.
She was, she moved to London in later years when we moved up here, and she was just very of her time. She was very, very beautiful, and she mixed a very, all the royal family and all this sort of thing. She was very, she was just, and very, just.
So she was Valerie Tempest.
Yeah, Valerie Tempest,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And then great-grandparents are here. These two look a bit stodgy here, but they weren't. He was in the Grand National 7 times, he came second twice. And they were very much in love, all the letters we've got on them. But he was a rather amazing guy, actually. And when I was 14, I used to give help out on tours because Mum and Dad were doing theirs, and I would do it. And I used to say, oh yeah, she was a gynecologist. But what I actually meant to say, she was a genealogist. So when we look at the archive room, her genealogy is amazing.
It's amazing.
She was highly intelligent. She was a good woman. She
Then,
was called Eleanor Blanche, and she was called Blanche because she was born on a snowy day. Yeah.
Lovely. Wonderful. And it sounds like you've got quite the archives.
Yeah, we're going to see those.
Okay.
And there's some archives, sort of archivist stuff here. Like behind here, we did a paint scrape. I didn't even know what a paint scrape is. I didn't until this happened. And going back till 16th century, 400 years of painting.
You've got to be kidding me.
All the different colours which used to be here. And I have to...
This is unbelievable that they
quite
were
nice
able
colours,
to do this.
actually.
They're actually quite nice colours. I actually quite like this sort of
pinky
raspberry colour there, soft raspberry.
I actually copied we have Alec Cobb helps us a lot on the interiors too. It comes up a couple of times a year or whatever. And this paint colour, in the 70s they painted it was an awful green colour.
Right.
But I got this colour from Cork Abbey. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I like this colour actually.
Yeah, I want to steal this colour. It's and also it goes very well with the contrasting with the gilt. So that all looks fantastic.
I think it's worked.
Yeah, it really has.
So
what's this?
Another
secret
door.
door.
One of the 97 rooms in the house. Can I have a peek?
One of the 97 rooms in the house. You're going to love this.
So this is where my great-grandmother, she did a lot of carvings. And,
yes, you mentioned.
And this is all her equipment. So you can see all her equipment. So she would carve fireplaces, all sorts. She was really good, actually.
Oh my
And we're going to see one of her fireplaces later.
Okay, I cannot believe this. This is like golden. Now it makes me want to get into woodworking when I see this.
And then here, this is where my grandfather, who's in this picture, that's him there.
Right.
That's him there. He built the doll's house.
So he's the one who built the doll's house.
Yeah.
This is,
Yeah.
okay.
So they make it in here. And there is
So they were in here. They were actually in here.
Yeah, they work in here.
They would work in here.
Workshop things.
Look at. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Roger, this is.
Quite sweet.
It's really sweet.
Quite sweet. And I love this little bit actually. This little bit there is really nice. There's no fun like work. I really like that.
Especially when you're doing work that you love.
Yeah.
Like woodworking.
And in classic, you quite find that we put Drummond, sort of classic country house stuff.
Right. I
don't know what we do.
This is, okay, I'm so glad I saw it.
Chains for paintings.
Yep, there you go.
Carry them up.
Hanging them on the picture rail.
This is country house life.
This room epitomizes country house life. But it's unbelievable that your great-grandmother had all this equipment. It was in here.
I'll show you the fireplace just here.
All right, let's go see that. And then I'm going to come back one time and just sort of do even deeper exploring. Okay, that's my favorite room in the house.
Really? So, this is
totally different part.
Called the smoking room.
The smoking.
And actually, Paris and I used to live in this wing up to a couple of years ago.
It's very homely. I like, and a great view.
Good view there.
Yeah, fantastic view.
And we went in the woodwork room to see my great grandmother's tools, all their carving, and she carved this fireplace.
I don't believe it. I don't.
Yeah, she did amazing. Quite a few of them. Amazing
Your
ones.
great grandmother did this.
That, yeah. And you can see that Loweth as our finds, the Old English.
Yep.
Love as our finds again.
This is unbelievable that she created this.
Yeah.
How did she obviously taught herself, she's self-taught, presumably.
I don't know her story, but she was just we got quite a big creative gene in the family.
You certainly do, but it's
artist sisters and things.
It's so detailed. I mean, everything is just unbelievably detailed here. I cannot, so you've got several of these. She did several.
Yeah, she did a few.
I mean, this is sensational.
Yeah. I
just can't get over the detail to this, and that your great-grandmother and all those tools I just saw. This house is just filled with incredible stories. That's what makes this house, I think, so wonderfully unique. Is that it's not that this was, by some famous, carver that
Chippendale.
Exactly, that all historic house owners would sort of want to bring into their house. This was done by your great-grandmother. That's what's unbelievable. And and that dollhouse that you showed me, that was done by your grandfather. Your grandfather.
Yeah. And he made that in the woodwork shop too.
Right.
But the great thing, I think, all these country houses and everything, a lot, how practical it is. And you have to be practical.
Yes.
1 minute you're cleaning out a loo, the next minute you've got, I don't know, a frog caught in a gutter or something.
It's so true.
Whatever's happened.
Yeah.
And you have to be really practical. And I think a lot of people might think, we might be sitting here with our Labradors and just sipping port, but unfortunately, the life of a historic custodian is very, very different.
It's very different from, I think, what people believe to be
the case.
The reality. Exactly. Thank you, Roger. This, my favorite room is
the woodwork room.
Is the woodworking room, just because of the story, and then seeing this, I think it's just absolutely brilliant.
We were just one little extra bit. So when Julian Fellows was looking for Downton Abbey, he came up here and he was looking at this house, and we were quite in the running for it, but they finally decided on a Highclere, which is absolutely perfect for it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things in this house, I was noticing next to the fireplace here, you see this used to, when they were, obviously you had a lot more help, you just ring that, and so the bells are all downstairs. They're really beautiful. They're beautiful.
The bells.
If you push them now, if any work, you'd only get me.
Okay, well that's all right. You're good. Those are beautiful bells, and on either side.
The old telephone system.
Yep, I know, and it was kind of easier back then. I mean, now we're digital, but then we can come to Broughton. We can detox.
Yeah, detox
from our digital devices. There you go. Sensational, absolutely. Second is my second favorite room now. Second favorite room because of this.
Roger had promised to show me one room which, for me, topped them all.
I love archives, Roger.
I have heard.
I'm in your archive room. It's beautiful. I'm going to take inspiration for Mapperton. But this is, again, your great-grandmother. Is that right?
That's
can see
right.
her name.
The one we
Eleanor
saw in the
Blanche.
dining room, Eleanor Branch, the one I thought was a gynecologist, but she was actually a genealogist.
Right.
And this copy's in the British Museum, as you can see, British Museum, 922. But this basically traces 32 generations back to 1098, Roger Tempest. He came over with William the Conqueror.
Right.
Very likely. And he was signing papers in the area in the 1090s.
Right.
And then it goes all the way, all their signatures and how the house in 1597, because the other house was burnt down by our neighbours. And so the new house is 1597, that's what it looked like.
That's what it looked like.
So, and these are all the Tempests and everything.
And that's all their signatures, and she put in their signatures.
Yeah.
Is your signature in here yet?
No, but if you look at this one,
Yeah.
this is quite a pretty book, actually, this. I like this.
Yeah, I like this.
This is on vellum. But this is about genealogy history.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so this is our coat of arms and our crest.
And again, it starts here with Roger Tempest.
Yeah.
There.
But
I love it. I love it.
If you go
I
a
want
few
one of these.
pages. Hang on, there's quite a few of them. Yeah, so here.
Okay.
This is like my that's my parents.
Yeah, and I see Eleanor Blanche there.
Yep,
my
that's
favorite
her.
woman in your
that
family.
That is her.
That's your parents.
And then the lady who had 15 kids.
Yeah.
Is her
Oh
kids.
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There they are. And there you are.
Yep. That's myself, my brother Piers.
And your three
my
sisters.
3 sisters, yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is beautiful.
So, but that's very beautiful, but some of this in the archive room. In here we have everything. I mean, there's even a mortgage document from 1326. Mortgage means gripped by death, and we still have a mortgage. But something like this is about a different bit of history, where this was, for example, I'm just trying to find it. This is King James asking to search underground.
For the priests?
Yeah. No. And then we got fined 1,400 guineas. Yeah, this is one, for example. In 1723, the estate of Catholics, 1723, and Stephen Tempest also paid the fine for being a papist.
For being a papist?
Yeah.
For not taking the oath?
Yeah.
And he was fined £1,400.
Yeah. It's all good now. We all get on very well, but...
Yeah, phew. We're past it. This... Okay, can I come back?
Yeah.
I can come back.
Come back another time. There's so much in here.
Okay,
They're all full, all these archives.
I want to spend a day here. I also want to maybe I just like research a little bit like Eleanor Blanche. I know, the woodworker, the genealogist, not gynecologist.
Yeah.
She is my favorite.
Yeah, she's special.
Yeah.
And I hope to return to Broughton Sanctuary to explore the archives some more and to fully experience all Avalon has to offer. There is such a sense of peace all around. What a very, very special place. Roger, Paris, and the team are so inspiring. I hope you've enjoyed spending time at Broughton as much as I have, and look forward to seeing you very soon for another Historic House visit. Bye, everybody.